Gavin Newsom cannot run again for governor of California. Kamala Harris ponders her run. Gavin Newsom goes on the Charlie Kirk show, and CBS News is trying to drop its lawsuit with President Trump. Welcome to the Doug Tenable channel. So that's an overview of the articles. They're all kind of tied together with a California flair. So up first, we have, this is CBS moves to dismiss Trump's $20 billion lawsuit over the 60 Minutes interview. So I hope you guys remember this one. This was when 60 Minutes gave a totally softball interview with Kamala Harris, and she was so slow, we'll say, electric buses, that they had to edit the interview, especially when it came to her comments on the war in Israel. They made her look good. That is a misuse of their FCC license, if nothing else, and election interference. So CBS has filed a motion to dismiss Trump's $20 billion lawsuit over its Kamala Harris interview, calling it an, quote, affront to the First Amendment, unquote, of course, as they should, and arguing it has no legal basis. Trump alleges this segment was deceptively edited. Now, that's true. Regardless of what you think, if you should be suing over this for the First Amendment or not, or if a company has a right to edit it, it is deceptively edited. This also goes to show how Democrats, when they said that they were against the misinformation and disinformation, and remember the fake news, deep fakes, they said, Karine Jean-Pierre said, about selectively editing footage of Biden to make him look more impaired than he is. It proves they didn't believe any of it, because this is deceptive editing to a point of being misinformation. And the Democrats intended to put together a giant government facility where this one Democrat party, they know that all these state jobs tend to go to Democrats, 90% Democrats, if you look at how they give to different campaigns, they would be the ones that would be adjudicating all of media and determining what is it misinformation or not. And of course, they would look at this deceptively edited video from 60 Minutes of Kamala Harris on it. They would say it was not misinformation, disinformation. If it was the same thing happened with a Republican over on Fox News or over on X, of course it's misinformation and disinformation and dangerous Elon Musk and these oligarchs. See, it ends up being not about the objective truth that's out there. It ends up being about the relative subjectivity or political bias of the individual. So that's the difference between, I think, the left and everybody else, is they think truth is personal. They think facts exist based on their feelings. CBS says the lawsuit seeks to punish news organizations for its editorial decisions and stands against the First Amendment protections. I just wish they talked about that during the election when all the Democrats were saying misinformation. We have to overcome and take over this misinformation. Or Hillary Clinton saying, if we lose control, if we're not able to control social media, we lose control. We'll get back to that lawsuit. I want to go into a different kind of media here. Check this one out. This is, I already showed in the previous video a little bit of this, a different part of this interview between Charlie Kirk, who I think is doing a pretty lighthearted, puffy, helpful interview for Gavin Newsom. And Gavin Newsom is over here in his office being extremely kind. Now, why do you think? Now, Gavin Newsom has a podcast himself. He just started. Charlie Kirk is helping him. I'm not saying there's a conspiracy here. I just go, Charlie, why are you helping him? And so the question is, I think Gavin Newsom, this is about his run for president. He's doing a rebranding now so that by 2028, he'll be good to go and all reformed. He already came off of the trans sports issue, where he turned his back on the entire California, the entire Democrat Party, all of the woke leftists that said biological men should compete in women's sports. He totally reversed that. But this is a far more interesting part of the interview, because it talks about media and masculinity. And here he's going to open with admitting that the Democrat Party are losing and losers.
We're losing. We have this, I feel it's asymmetry of Donald Trump and Elon Musk sending out tweets, or you doing social media, and then me doing a 3-minute hit. at 3:00 in the afternoon on CNN.
So he's using asymmetrical warfare, which is a great term that he's using. There's an asymmetry. He goes, the right is flat out dominating the conversation on social media. Now, to me, that's pretty mind-blowing for a number of reasons. But the biggest reason is I'm a Christian, conservative Christian in media entertainment, video games, comic books. And we've heard our whole lives how conservatives suck at media. Conservatives are terrible at culture. You're so old-fashioned. Your clothes are ugly. You're not cool. You're a bunch of old, rich white guys. When Barack Obama won in 2008 and in 2012, they talked about their absolute dominance of social media. That it was the cool young kids, the hip Democrats that were taking over the airwaves of social media. And so guys like Romney and McCain didn't have a chance against it. So very strange that now here we are 10 years later, a little more than 10 years in some cases, and now it's considered the right have completely taken over social media. It's kind of true, but it's a very different kind of right-wingers. It's not Jerry Falwell and Jim Baker, buying a television studio. It's a very young MAGA. They cuss, foul, punch back harder. They use memes, Pepe memes, sometimes racist memes, because it's meant to be funny. They're not saying anything about racism being good. They're saying that it's a pushback on being told what to do by Democrats and calling them out for using racism, not for legit caring about minorities. Okay, that's how complicated this whole thing is. I'm only saying Gavin Newsom here is going to say interesting things about the right-wing MAGA dominance of media, and how, look at him, perfect combed hair. A designer came in and designed this office with the fake bookshelves. Look at the urn in the background. And he really needs to, if this is how he designs it, then yeah. Roseanne Barr in the last video called him a bot. This looks like a bot. This looks like a guy with a problem.
I mean, how the hell do we compete? We're toast.
Well, I'm part of it, and credit to you for doing long-form podcasting, because long-form podcasting does penetrate different audiences, right? And our show does very well. But part of the problem of the Democrat Party that for the health of the country would be great to change is that Democrats cannot survive in long-form podcasting environments.
Why?
It's too unscripted. It's too masculine, honestly. And the Democrat Party's become too
feminine.
feminine.
What is masculine about a podcast? Honestly, because I get the whole manosphere, this bro podcast.
To go
stuff.
into the
Okay, look at Gavin Newsom. Does anything about this say masculine? I kind of feel sorry for him. Anytime a man is asking another man, how do I be masculine? Especially when you're asking Charlie Kirk. Let me scrub back to this guy. Look at it. Look at how he crossed his legs. Is this masculine, guys? I apologize. I'm sorry for ripping on Charlie Kirk. I kind of like the guy. Is even this whole conversation masculine at all? But Gavin Newsom's going, how is podcasting masculine? I'm going to comment on this also, because it's true that the right and MAGA appears to be more masculine. Like even Trump eating McDonald's, right? Loving a Big Mac, doesn't care. He's a fat guy. Driving around in his golf cart. He decided to work that fryer at McDonald's. That looked masculine to me. It doesn't look feminine. You know what I mean? He could have gone out and done anything. And there's something about masculinity that just doesn't give a rip, right? When your dad would sit there on the easy chair and just say the most outrageous thing, often sexist, it might even be racist. Again, I'm not defending a bad form of mean, totalitarian masculinity. I'm only saying that one trait of masculinity is the man that doesn't sit there and follow every trend of hair, eyebrows, what clothes do I wear, what shoes do I wear, what car do I drive. Caring too much about culture is not something Dad did. That's why Dad always had kind of out of fashion clothes, because he was more focused on real things, warrior things, actual things. And that's a masculine trait. I want to tell that to my kids too. Look, sometimes if you're looking around and trying to get everyone's permission for everything, that's not being masculine. It's not being a man. In fact, a man kind of learns his code, ideally from the Bible. Maybe you add in the Constitution. Maybe you add in Aristotelian logic. Maybe you add in, Art of War or George Patton or Churchill. You add in these heroes, C.S. Lewis. There's masculine things that we put in our library, and then you walk it, and you don't always ask permission. You don't always look around going, oh, I'm afraid to make a mistake. Great men didn't do that. They got on a ship and they went to sea, killing whales for 3 months away from the family on the deck of a ship. They had to make an assessment and make a decision. That's part of what we love about manhood, is when all the chips go down, when some robber comes into a donut shop and there's families everywhere, the dad acts. He doesn't just go, well, what does everyone think? Like Daniel Penny choking that guy out on a subway. That's manhood. That is masculine. He didn't ask permission, and he was willing to go to court for it. Choked the guy out and ended up killing him. Not asking for too much permission is a masculine trait. Going out and arguing your views, being able to articulate. So Charlie Kirk goes, frankly, these podcasts, they're too masculine for Democrats. Remember Tim Walz? Was that guy masculine? Kamala Harris is vice president. Is this masculine? Either of these guys. Looking at Gavin Newsom dress up and going through the fire burned areas, he looked like he came from marketing or an accountant, and he's out there with these gruff firemen. I mean, it was like one of these things is not like the others.
It's too masculine, honestly. And the Democrat Party's become too
what
feminine.
Is masculine about a podcast? Honestly, because I get the whole manosphere, this bro podcast
to go
stuff.
into the wilderness with no rules and duel.
Hold on one second. Gavin, when you do that with your hands, that's not masculine. Stop doing that. Watch this.
Honestly, because I get the whole manosphere. This
Yeah. Okay. Never do that. That is
to go into the wilderness with no rules and duel it out and see who's better or who's stronger. No, seriously. I mean, like what?
Democrats
what? No, I mean, like
we don't do it.
No,
You're right. For whatever reason.
Oh, another concession. We don't do it. We do not go out in long form content and debate ideas. We can't do it. It has to be edited. You have to have a marketing person. You have to chop it up. In other words, you need guys, I've been saying this for years. Republicans fear that you won't find out what they believe. Democrats fear that you will find out what they believe. There's a reason why Democrats run and own media. They have the editors, they have the writers, they have the cool directors, they have the actors, because their whole thing requires manipulative presentation. That is how they show it to you. It's always hiding something or editing something out, like the CBS interview with Kamala Harris. They need an editor to pull it off. They could never have you actually find out what's rolling around in that woman's head. You'd be horrified. You know who we do see on parade in front of us all? Someone who needs an editor? Donald Trump. He just spews. But one thing that I know about him, I may not agree with what he says, but I know that's who he actually is. We got an accurate assessment of the guy. And I think there was something about kind of, at least it's an honest assessment of the man. Whereas Kamala Harris, we never knew what she believed. I still don't know what she believes about the economy. I still don't know what possible ideas she has. I still don't know if she knows anything about solar or anything about electric buses, though she's gone on and on talking this word salad. She never gave us information because it was all edited. It was all packaged. It was all brat. She's brat. We're having the Joy campaign. We're Joy. It's all TV. Democrats die without the presentation. Whereas Republicans, turn the camera on me. I'll talk to you for 4 hours straight because I don't fear what's rolling or if anything, I confess what's even wrong with me. I have a mouth. I have pride. I have whatever. I'm introspective. It's like, I'm not trying to hide something from you. I'm trying to get the truth out. Gavin Newsom, I never feel like he's being transparent. Even here, I smell something.
Don't do it.
You can laugh, but like who in the Democrat Party?
We're not. You're right.
Will go. I mean, maybe Bernie Sanders, but he only
RFK
for like an hour and a
when
half.
he was a Democrat.
Well, Bobby, who's now HHS.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
there's something to be said that if you want to earn the respect of forgotten America, you have to show them that you can intellectually joust with no script, no hard breaks, no producers in the ears, no teleprompters.
Love it.
That's where new media is going. Now, I'll only challenge one thing you say. I am reaching new audiences. I'm not talking to my bubble. Because our content is so appealing, it goes in a decentralized way.
And it's not just political.
No, it's not political. Cultural. But like, again, our conversation here is going to go far and wide, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people are going to see it. A lot of people are going to consume it. because it's also politics and entertainment have begun to overlap,
Right.
right? And the
Yeah, politics, entertainment. That's what I've always done. I've always wanted to make my news entertaining. I'm about a good 3 years ahead of the curve on this one, guys. Now, it's not that I'm number one or anything, but to me, this is news as entertainment. And now he's saying the same thing. Thank you, Charlie Kirk, for you're finally coming around. Good, bad. I mean, he was doing it before anybody else either, guys. So he has a right to say it.
old adage is, well, politics is downstream from culture. I think politics and culture are indecipherable from one
That's
another.
right.
Donald Trump became a cultural
interesting.
phenomenon, right?
Oh,
You go
interesting.
you go into, inner city Compton, you'll see guys with Trump shirts with, the hand up, fight, fight, fight.
Yep.
So what Democrats are doing is you're still playing in a very old, hyper sanitized media environment.
Right.
And my advice is you got to go where it's unpredictable, where it's treacherous, where it's dangerous. Now, I would make a more provocative argument that you wouldn't necessarily resonate with, which is that you guys have not built the intellectual muscle over 30 years because you all agree with each other all the time.
Bim, bam, boom. That's so true. Did you hear that? You have not. Now, this is hard for Gavin Newsom to take. You have not built the intellectual muscle over the years. What does that mean? How do you build muscle, right? I got weights over there. Resistance training. It's you're tearing muscle down. You're making it hard by lifting a weight. That's how you work out a muscle. Your muscles get bigger in response to tough tasks. If I broke rocks for a living, or if I was a miner, out digging in a mine, I would naturally be huge because my body responds to the stress it's getting. When you run, your cardio responds, your heart, your legs. That's what working out is. And we live such easy, padded lives that we ought to be giving ourselves more difficult tasks and resistance by choice. When I go out and read articles to you, I'm often finding articles from almost entirely Democrat sources. Why? Because I'm not trying to bring you stuff that we already agree with. I'm out there trying to find the best arguments against my side, or the most emotional arguments against my side. Idiots like The View, like giant popular arguments against my side. That's what I want to fight against because it makes me stronger. Resistance training. That's what Charlie Kirk is talking about. The Democrat Party does not have 20 years of resistance training. You guys, go be a conservative, evangelical white guy and go try to make it in Hollywood, in animation, in comic books, in video games, out in culture. In lefty land, in crazy DEI lefty land. You have to know your arguments because you're going to get hit every day. That's me every day since 2007. Doug, you're against gay marriage. You're a homophobe. I had to hear that and I had to argue against it. No, I don't hate anyone and I'm not afraid of anyone. In fact, the most loving thing you can tell a gay is to repent. How's that? So you develop your arguments. Even now I've got an art show out in Moscow, Idaho. Okay, it's got my comic pages hung up right now. And the local secular university found out about it. Some art students came and looked at the show. And some students came and told the gallery director who put the show on, Doug is a hater and a pro-Trump homophobe. So see, we have had 20 years of building our muscle. If you're a conservative or a Christian or Republican, in the last 20 years, we've had to build our muscle. The exact opposite happened with Democrats because they all agreed with each other. They got flabby. They had no resistance. They got to sit back and just call names. You're a racist. And they never had to think. You're a homophobe. You're an Islamophobe. You're sexist. It's 6 Herb. Racist, sexist, homophobe, bigot. They just called a name. They never had to think. And they all agreed with each other. And they surrounded themselves with each other. They live in elite environments. In cities, they tend to be. They're not in small country towns where people actually are neighbors and have to disagree with each other and work their problems out. They're in a boardroom with feminized, eyebrows plucked, men with the hair slicked back in the ironic suit and their latte with almond milk in it. And you know what I mean? Soy latte, almond milk. They all agree. They're all the same. So they never built their arguments. They never had a thick skin. And my biggest fear for MAGA and for the right now, with us dominating culture, is we'll get flabby if we don't challenge ourselves and each other and continue to build muscle. We'll do the same thing as the left did over the last 20 years. we'll sit here and just kick back and go, haha, MAGA, FJB, haha, wasn't that easy? No, think, engage, use your mind. We're going to build out the party with the Constitution, with a fight. We go out and find the most difficult arguments and we address them.
Well, not like conservatives are massively disagreeing.
Well, but hold on.
Trump has completely collapsed the conservative movement.
I would push back a little bit. I would disagree. We have a robust discussion.
Well, it seems like Congress is really doing great oversight of Trump right now. They're holding him to account.
That's an important but separate issue. I just want to finish the point, and we could talk about Congress, which is that in the Republican Party, we have immense and vocal and public spats all the time. I think you would agree. We fight about foreign policy. Look at Ukraine, right? We're talking about primary challenging some of these senators that were meeting Zelensky last week. The Democrat Party would never do that. Now, I think that is a symptom of an underlying thing. We're constantly trying to find the approximation of what truth is. We're trying to use dialogue towards, hey, who's right? What do you believe? Why do you believe it? And it's by no coincidence that out of the long form podcasting genres, the top 10, 8 of them are conservative or center right. Rogan, Megyn Kelly, Theo Vaughn, the Paul brothers,
Shapiro.
our program, Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh. There's a singular one on the left, which is Pod Save America, which is just like a bunch of Obama bros agreeing with each other for 90 minutes and saying that we're not very smart. And, and so anyway, but I
appreciate it. No, but objective truth, right? I mean, you just dominate this media.
That's a huge admission. Why in the world would he admit? You guys have objective truth and you dominate. In other words, we have the truth. Democrats, this is a huge shift again in the 90s. We went from desiring truth to desiring experience. That's why I tend not to use personal experience to make an argument, okay? It's truth, it's objective and out there, and we bring it in, and then we match our personal experience to the truth out there. Democrats are different. They don't even believe in an objective truth out there. That's the postmodern last 100 years. Derrida, Wittgenstein, Foucault, Sartre, all of these guys, they undermined even the idea that a truth out there exists. Therefore, everything's about your personal experience. All you can tell people is what you feel. And that's what DEI is: diversity, equity, inclusion. And they talk about the lived experience. They go, you can't judge me. You don't have my lived experience. My lived experience trumps objective truth. Sorry, getting a little deep in the weeds. I'm only saying, guys, I read the books and I know the arguments. So I like doing videos on The View because they're dumb and it's fun weighing into dumb. Frankly, it's sometimes it's funner than doing the smart stuff, because the smart stuff hardly anyone even traffics in it. Okay, let's get back to that lawsuit. Look, this is we're going to get back to the CBS lawsuit here. Trump's $20 billion CBS suit. It heads to mediation. Okay, so they're trying to get a mediator. Paramount and Trump have agreed to bring in a mediator, signaling both sides are open to settling the case over an edited 60 Minutes interview with Kamala. I hope Trump gets another big win here. Remember last time he got $15 million from ABC. He's suing for $20 billion to CBS. CBS employees are pushing back hard, with 60 Minutes producer Bill Owens refusing to apologize as any part of a deal. Paramount's merger with Skydance is also at stake. Oh, that's who owns CBS. As executives weigh whether resolving the lawsuit could help avoid roadblocks from the Trump administration. So look, if you're trying to merge CBS with Skydance and you've got a $20 billion potential lawsuit hanging over your head, you don't want to buy that company and then get nailed with a $20 billion fine. Meanwhile, this is from a little while ago. I'm just going to show you this lady, used to be the president of CBS. She got whacked. CBS News president ousted after less than a year amid network shakeups. So see, they have a female DEI hire. She already got whacked. Adrienne Rourke is out at CBS News president after less than a year, marking yet another leadership shakeup at the struggling network. Her departure follows cost-cutting efforts at parent company Paramount Global, which is finalizing a merger with Skydance Media. Man, I hope Trump wins a $20 billion. That's what you get, Skydance. I hope your investment just gets roasted. Rourke previously replaced Ingrid Cyprin Matthews. She has a hyphenated name, so already a feminist, who was reportedly ousted after budget tensions. And then finally, here's the big one. Kamala Harris may run for California governor. Kamala is considering running for governor of California's 2026 to replace Gavin Newsom, who can't run again. She has told allies she will make a final decision by the end of this summer. If she runs and wins, she's not going to win. Come on, California. It could block her from running for president in 2028. So there is some upside. We might be spared her awful presidential run if she wins governor. Harris recently signed with a top Hollywood agency to land book deals. Can she even write? Can you imagine her book? I want her to write a self-help book. Okay. Speaking gigs. Who wants her to speak? How much are you going to pay to have her lecture at Harvard? And possible film projects. How about Dumb and Dumber? What? Part 6? Guys, if California votes her into office as governor, you deserve to have your state burned down. People who lost your houses, you can't do this. She can't be the one. My heartfelt message to California. And on that note, we've been here for a long time. I'm Doug in exile. Thanks for hanging around with me. Appreciate you guys.